Welcome back to B&B Powersports. Just doing a walk around to what I got going on here. Yeah, November 25th, 2019. Another temporary location. Waiting to buy a place still here in Quesnel, BC. Just renting at the moment. But I got her set up pretty good. Had to put up some walls and insulation, but I only half-assed it because really, what's the point of spending a bunch of money on it when your roof has no fucking insulation? So, only thing I got heating this is this one space heater here. And this built-in one here, which puts out a decent amount of heat, but it ain't a fucking enough. It's only about -4 or something outside, and it's only 8 degrees in here. It's gonna suck when it gets fucking cold. But anyways, I was thinking about getting some propane heat of some kind. I just got to do some research on it. This is what I got going on. I'm supposed to be building the brackets to mount this snowblower on this old Craftsman tractor. Older lady bought this off a guy that had it on a Craftsman tractor. And he's like, oh, this is all the parts you need. It just bolts on and you go. But it's missing some pieces. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but there's at least one main mount of some type missing from it. I kind of gave up on it. I'm going to work on it some more maybe later today. And then this was my buddy Rick's old piece of shit Yamaha. But it actually is not too bad for what it is. It needs a seat cover. But he owed me some money for Summit XP I sold him. So he said if I got this thing going, I could sell it for the money he owes me. So I ripped her apart. Well, first off, we fired it up. We had to prime it a bunch, of course. It sat for a while. And it took forever to start it, but it did start. And it even idled. But I was like, this isn't right, man. This doesn't sound good at all. Like, I could tell something was off. You go to get fucking gas, and it would just like super slow revs. And I was like, yeah, put my hand on the cylinders. One side's dead cold, the other side's warm. Like, yeah, you're only running on one cylinder. So we pulled the friggin' spark plug off, and it's dented. The gap on the electrode or whatever it's called was squished right flat, so there was no spark. But not only that, something caused that. So right away I did a compression test. The one side was like 125 or something. It was decent. But the other side was about 30. So we pulled it apart. And where did it go? I think I stuck it up there. That's the piston. What's left of the piston. She blew right apart. And there was chunks of shit everywhere. So we cleaned it out the best we could. Pulled the jug off, of course. Blew it all out with the air compressor. First we had to suck all the antifreeze out of it because we didn't drain it properly first, but whatever. That's how it goes. And then we sucked everything we could out of it, blew it out the air compressor, fucking spun it a million times, got a whole bunch of chunks of stuff out of there, and kind of going on faith that we got it all. That's the head. As you can see, one side's a little dinged up, but I think it's going to work. Going to reuse the old greasy old fucking head gasket. I don't know. It's missing a lot of fucking sealant on it or whatever the hell you call that, coating. Might use some of my fucking, this stuff right here. Powersports gasket maker. And it works pretty damn good actually. I've used it on all kinds of different things. Intakes, friggin', even as a base gasket sealant, or case sealant actually. And it works. So, what else have I got going on here? Oh yeah, this is the jug. It isn't mint at all, but I think it's going to run. This is the worst of it right here. You can see this. That little shiny spot is a little bit of the nickel plating flaking off from the piston blowing up. And you can feel it. I sanded it a bit and it's smooth, but you can still feel it a little bit. And that's the worst of the whole damn thing. So I just cheaped out on this one, but it's going to work. I ordered a used piston off eBay for like, I don't know, 70 bucks or something like that. It says it's good. It's within spec. The motor was running. It came out of blah, blah, all that good stuff. So hopefully I'll just be able to slap it back together, a little bit of sealant, a little bit of whatever, and make it work, make it run. I mean, it was still idling on one piston. I was amazed how good it ran on one cylinder. It actually blew my mind. So I think it's going to run great with two. Even if it's only got like half the compression it needs, it'll run. That's one good thing I got to say about Yamahas, is they're pretty reliable. That's about the only thing. So then I got this on part of a trade deal with another old 670 mod piece of shit that I sold quick. And this one's actually not too bad. The only problem with it, the guy said the water pump, it needed a water pump, which is like your shaft which runs your water pump and your oil pump, but they had done an oil delete on it. And then actually what he did is he ran an electric pump. It's still in here, I believe. Yes. Right there. A 12-volt electric pump was circulating the coolant, which probably would work. Whether it worked perfect, I don't know. It might cool it too fast. Like, it would probably take forever to warm up. I don't know. Kind of an interesting setup. But I'm not going to use it, because the problem with it was, oh, I don't know where I put it. Probably over here. Yeah, I don't know. Stripped out the gear anyways. There's a shaft right here. That's it. It's a stupid plastic gear. I don't know why they use plastic. I guess so this stripped and not the crank, I guess. Because it runs inside your cases. Right down in there. It goes all the way through there. This side runs your water pump. And this side runs your oil pump. They ground it right off because they had it deleted. And that's over here on this side. And it runs off that gear in the middle. That gear's steel, I believe. Yeah, or cheap cast, but yeah, it's steel. But it strips them out. When they're really cold, or if you get any like moisture in this cavity is just full of oil, mix oil. It just lubricates. That's all it does. And sometimes you get moisture in there, and then it fucking will freeze. When it's minus 30 out, it'll freeze down at the bottom there. Right down at the very bottom here, and then your gear will be sitting in ice. And guys will just reef on them. I did it once myself. This is how I know. I pulled and pulled and pulled until it broke loose, and I thought my engine was seized or hydrolocked or something. And I just pulled it, and then eventually it pulled over. And I was like, holy shit. And I started it, and I ran it for about 10 minutes, and I noticed it was getting really warm. And I jumped off and touched the tunnel, and there was no heat whatsoever in the coolers. So I brought it home, and it took me a while to figure it out, but then eventually I did. And I'm pretty sure that's the same thing that happened to this sled. And, yeah, because of it, all the chunks from this blew apart inside this cavity, which is all in here. Like, it's all sealed off, and you have seals in each side. But what happened is those chunks got into these seals, and it completely destroyed this one. And this one's on its way. It's not a whole lot better. It's going to fall apart too. So all the oil that was in here would have been sucked into these friggin' crankcases. Well, you would have lost a lot of vacuum too. There would have been vacuum leaking back and forth between the two. And then it sucked all the oil out of there and burnt it all off. It was probably smoking like a bastard when the last little bit that he ran this thing. But yeah, so because of these seals being gone, I need a new crank. It's not worth it to rebuild it to change these seals. If you're going to do that, you might as well just buy a good used or rebuilt one. The problem is it's a 99. The first year of the Ski-Doo 600 of that model, the twin there, that they made up to like, oh, forever. And the crank was different. So they changed them in 2000 and up. So it's a 1 year only. Non-HO, it's the original 600. So I've been having a hard time finding one. There's a couple on eBay for around $300, $350. Say that they're good used, but no guarantee kind of thing. You kind of gamble with something like that. But anyways, I'm going to get one, and I'm going to get this thing going because it's in nice shape. I'm building these bars. It had stupid big ape hanger kind of friggin' dirt bike wide bars on it. So These are a set of rev bars actually that I've modified with a little, I think it's a 3-inch extension here. And then I'm putting warmers back on it. There was nothing wired in properly. They cut the desk key off even. I had to like rewire that. It's just hanging down here. Luckily I had one. And I had this harness here also. Whichever one it is. Yeah, that one. Luckily. So, I don't know why. They cut everything off. It was all snipped. This is going to be my hand warmers wire. This is for the friggin' kill switch, which was missing and cut right off. And I don't know. It's weird. But I'm going to get it back together and get it going. It's got a nice track on it. It's in pretty good shape. For a 99, this thing, big custom fucking trailer hitch on it. I actually kind of like how they did it. Use some rubber hose with some other hose over top, and then all hose clamped together, and so it's all like bushings. It's cushioned, so they wouldn't be jerking around on it and shit. And it would ride pretty nice actually. If you're towing a skimmer with this, it would work. And it's heavy duty. I mean, they freaking made plates for it and everything. So I'm gonna leave it on there. I kind of like it. It's even got the hood strap still. Like, that's amazing. They're not rotted off. Good old MPEM. Well, can't even read it. It's wore off. Multi-purpose electronic module, I believe that stands for. It's your brain box. It's what tells everything what to do. But they don't control a whole lot in those older models because they're not fuel injected, and it controls a couple things in these ones. I think like the altitude adjustment stuff, DPM I believe. Yeah, that's right here. It's electronic. There's a few other things, but as they get newer and newer, they start adding more and more, and then they eventually go to ECM, they call it. It's the same idea, just a newer, more modern, updated version. Electronic control module. I have one somewhere here. Yeah, see, there's an MPEM. That's the old style that they made up to like 05 or 6. 5, I believe. And then I think I got an ECM in here. I did have one. Huh. Well, I don't know. It's around. Looks a little different anyways. Got a few sets of carbs. I got some parts, man. Couple bars. Bunch of recoils. Whole box full of them. That's Yamaha junk, that pipe. That's all XP and Rev. XP, Rev, XP, Rev, all this. I got seats and tanks and plastics and all that shit, man. Been building sleds like a mofo. That's the spare track that's going to go with that Yamaha when I get rid of it, because it won't fit anything else anyway. Rev plastics. I got enough to build at least one, if not two. 144 and 151 skid, and some brand new pink 151 rails that somebody never even used. 144 track is pretty chewed up. That's off of this 04 Rev, which the chassis is okay. I even got a spare nun for it. Or bulkhead, whatever. I can't remember which is which, but I got both. I even got that too, the cooler. So I got enough parts to build one, at least. That's all Rev suspension and steering components there, and the drivers. There's a dog. There's a homie. Yeah, you're a good boy. What else we got going on around here? Fucking mint dog. Had to throw that in there. That's pretty much it for the time being. I just wired in my redneck confuculated power in here. This was a carport when I moved in here, and there was no doors or anything here. And I made a deal with my landlord that, and whatever, long story short, he let me do this. Because I needed a place to work for the winter. But there was no lights in here whatsoever. There was no fixtures. It was just bare wiring. He was going to put in powered garage doors, and he paid for a whole bunch of wiring work to be done, and I think he did those two walls and that back window and the door in the back. and then he gave up and he never finished it. So I had to put all these fixtures in and make this shit all work. And these ones, for whatever reason, aren't even controlled by the switch. The two over on the back are, but this one and this one aren't. So I don't know. It took me a while, a little bit of money. Had to rig it up. But I had no power outside. So I ran this cord from the plug that's supposed to run the power doors down to here, and then put in an outlet for outside there. It's pretty redneck, but it works. I also had to change the breaker. When I had this heater going, and my air compressor would kick on, and you know, whatever else, lights I got plugged in, blah blah blah, it would kick the breaker every goddamn time. So I pulled out the 15 amp piece of shit, and then I threw on a 30. $25 down at Rona. And then I also ran another one over here. This is my power bar for my office, I guess you'd call it, where I sit and smoke weed all day. Yeah, there's a bunch of blown up sled stuff up here. That's all pistons and cylinders and clutches. Things that are just no fucking good. Big crack in that mofo. Got myself some nice gauges for an XP. Just gotta get myself a bud system so I can program that shit. Make all kinds of money doing that. You can't do anything with electronics and then your ski-doos. You can't swap a gauge, you can't swap a desk key, you can't swap, oh man, pretty much anything. The ECM, like, it's all gotta be programmed together. So if you build one out of parts, you better hope you at least have the ECM and desk key for the original motor, or at least the same type of motor, exact same. And then gauges also. If you don't have the right gauges, you'll hook it up and the tack will work, and that'll be it. Then you'll have a desk key light on flashing at you and shit, and then nothing's going to work right, and it's going to say no communication if it's that style there with the big display on it. Then you got to take it to Ski-Doo in the back of your truck, and it has to be running. You got to be able to fire it up, and they come out with a little handheld scanner piece of thing, shit, fucking whatever it is. And they plug it into a part of your harness. It takes a couple minutes, but it's no big deal. And they go beep, 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 push a couple buttons, and then bam, everything works properly. And they're like, that'll be $100, please. So yeah, I need to get me one of them. It's they're not cheap. I looked them up, and the cheapest I can find them anywhere is, I believe, Amazon. And it's like almost $1,000, like $980 something just for the base system. You get the old style and the new style in one package. The old one goes up to 2017, I believe, or 18, and then they changed it for the new ones. And then the basic plug and the basic everything, the software or whatever. But then you also have to get an adapter if you want to be able to hook them up to anything beyond 2006 or whatever. I can't remember what it is. That's like another $200, and then you need to pay for your license fee every year, or you can do it monthly, quarterly, I can't remember. There's a bunch of options, but it costs money. So I haven't done it yet. I'm going to, though, because it would be really fucking handy. I can make some money, and I could build a lot more sleds. I can mismatch everything. Take a key off one and freaking gauges off another one, to an ECM off an even another one, and program them all together and make it all work. You can even fuck with the fuel mapping and shit like that. Like, you can do things. For the newer ones anyways, the E-Techs and whatnot. But you can change timing curves, and you can change all kinds of shit with them. I don't know if I'd want to fuck with that too much. Maybe on an experimental one or something, but I don't know. I want them, though. It's just a lot of money. Just snowed here today. Second time this year. The first time was like 2 weeks ago, and it melted right away. My new truck. Chevy Silverado. Fucking mint. Yeah. She's all icy and dirty and shit. It was pretty clean when I got it. Like a week and a half ago or whatever. Not too sure on these tires yet. I've heard good things and I've heard bad things. They're the Comforcer, they're called. And they're like a 32 or almost a 33, I think, 32 point something. They're decent looking tires, and they got some big knobs, and they're probably great off-road, but I don't know how they're going to be for winter. They have one little slit, like that's it, the perforation or whatever you call it. There's one in each lug, but amazingly enough, right there, it's got a snowflake. So I don't know, we shall see. I've heard they wear fast, and you have to rotate the shit out of them. So there's all the rest of my parts, shit everywhere, quads and stuff. Trying to thin out the herd and get rid of some junk. Been selling the odd thing. There's my good quad over there. I had a really nice friggin' Summit free ride, 2011 free ride, first year E-Tech 800. But I traded it and my old truck for that new one I got. It was worth it. That new truck's fucking sweet. So this is the one I built. This was the sled in a box. I bought it as parts. The guy that had it blew the motor up and gave up on it. He just said fuck it, stripped it apart, sold a couple things. He sold the e-start system and I can't remember what else. A couple little pieces that I ended up having to source out. But I bought the whole thing in a box, basically. A couple boxes actually. Third tunnel. Didn't even have the skid on it. Didn't have skis, suspension, nothing. It was just bare. And I built it for the girlfriend. It needs a better brake. I think the master's okay. I think it's the caliper itself. It like bleeds down somehow, or I don't know. It just, once you move it, it'll go right to the bar. If you ride it for 10 feet and then you pull this, it's like right to the bar. Doesn't work. Then you got to pump it a bunch of times and then it will. So I haven't figured that out yet. That's about the worst thing on it. Really, that is. It's the only problem this thing has. Other than that, it is mint. Got a sticker kit off eBay. Thought it was a wicked deal, and it kind of was, but notice anything wrong? This is an 09. It ain't no E-Tech. It's a P-Tech. Only like third year. But it's a nice sled though. I have brand new the rest of the decals, but I couldn't do this side because it's got this frog skin covering, which is nice, but I wanted to go back to stock. So I'm probably going to order a brand new panel, keep that as a good spare for the next build, and then it'll match. She's a good sled though. Stole this off my free ride when I got rid of it. Same with the seat. This is the taller 2010 up, fucking taller, narrower seat. I put the flat one off this one onto the freaking free ride before I got rid of it. This thing runs great though. Probably 2 good pulls. We'll see. Yeah. $1.5. I fire it up every other day for a minute. Go through a heat cycle. All new motor. New pistons, seals, Isoflex grease, dual ring pistons of course. Let that warm up. Yeah, I built it from the ground up. New hardware, new everything. I went and spent $100 on a bunch of metric hardware. It's not all new, not every single bolt, but they're all good, clean bolts. So that's why I wasn't too heartbroken about getting rid of the free ride. Yeah, I was an E-Tech. Yeah, it was newer, but I wasn't as invested into it. It was just a cash transaction, and it bought me a truck, so it was worth it. When I build things or trade for things is when I really like them. Except for this guy. I paid money for this. And it's fucking handy. 99 Honda Foreman 450S. Not the electric shift, the manual. The electric shift is handy, but they have issues. Manual is just so much more reliable and rugged, in my opinion. That, and I couldn't find electric shift for cheap. Haha. Had one lined up, and then a fucking deal fell through, and then this one popped up, and it was so cherry mint, fucking for a 99, 20-year-old quad. Thing's in great shape. Runs like fucking just mint, man. Just fucking mint. Okay, she's warmed up enough. And warmers are warm. Yep, she's warmed up. I swear one of these days I'm gonna patent a 2-stroke cologne, man. I smell like that shit all day anyways. Every time I walk in the house, the girlfriend's like, you smell like 2-stroke. I'm like, fucking A. Learn to love it. What do you figure, homie? Where's that bear? You gonna get that bear? Where's the bear? Go get him. He's out there. There's a bear out there. He's a good bear dog. He chases them away all the time. Yeah, there's the rest of my decals right there. Just need a panel. So yes, this is what's going on in my shop these days. Just rednecking it up. There's a bunch of Polaris triple shit. I'm getting 2 old Polarises here this week. I'm actually trading the Yamaha for a Rev 1000 chassis with lots of good parts, and then 2 old Polarises, one that runs, and then one that has one of these motors that needs a rebuild. And I just happen to have 2 brand new pistons right there too. A whole another spare motor, all this crap. That's my skeevy clutches there. What's left of them, I've been building them out of parts. This is a motor I'm just trying to get rid of. It came in a chassis, wasn't even the original motor. It's a MXZ 440 that was in a Summit 800. And the guy blew it up and I got it. But I cleaned it up and it's actually, the crank's okay, I think. It's got a little bit of rust from sitting and it could use a bit more of a cleaning, but she spins free and good. Like I would use it, you know. And the cases are good. I also have a bunch of other stuff. That's the gauges for the MXZ, the dual style. I tried them on 800 and the RPMs are off by like 1,000 or more. They're way off. When it was idling, it was at like 2,500 or something, or almost 3,000. It was way up there when it should be at like 17 or 18. So I swapped it out to the single one. That was on a different build that I did. Well, it was that sled, but I stuck an 800 motor in it. The HO that it was supposed to have. Had to change a couple things. Got some pipes. No, not crack pipes. Drugs are bad, okay. Anyways, yeah. That's B&B Powersports. Late November 2019. Starting to get some snow. Might be able to go brap someday soon. Yeah.